Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, that is, when this is going to be airing. And I'm super excited to announce our next teachers for the 2024 Bling Bling Jam in Vegas. And that is Mark and Andrea Zettler. And they've been a Bling Bling Jam before. They are in the decor world, not the twisting world. So don't get that twisted, okay? And they've been at it for quite some time. And I wanted to ask them a few questions so you guys that don't know them, all the oldies but goodies, can have a refresher as to who they are, how their balloon career has evolved, how long they've been doing it, and what they do. And then they are going to be sponsored this year by Ellie Tex Balloons. We're super excited about that. They're a new brand coming to Bling Bling Jam. And so there'll be 4 classes, and we'll get into that in a minute. 2 on marketing and 2 balloons, but a lot to be learned with all this, and it's going to be good stuff. So with that said, like I said, I'm super excited about having Mark and Andrea coming to Bling Bling Jam. They've done their due diligence in the balloon world, been around for a while. They're pretty successful, and it's an honor to have them. So with that said, Mark, I guess I'll let you start, or Andrea, both of you guys, as to how your balloon career started, when you started, how it evolved, and just so people that don't know you or need a refresher can hear who you are and know that the wealth of knowledge you two have. And that's how I'm going to phrase it.
Okay, well, thanks. Should ladies go first or no?
Yes.
You want me to go? My background is not in balloons. I was an elementary school teacher. I taught for 12 years.
Yes.
In that 12 years time is when I met Mark, got involved a little bit with the business. And then when we got married and had kids, I got more involved because I did not go back to teaching. And then thus.
Then thus.
Thus.
For me, I have a music degree, and
Wow.
I was hoping to, and I'm just short of a second one, a performance degree, and so I was hoping to be a performer. And I started out as
I
a
can
high
see
school.
that. That's great. That's good. Sorry.
Well, couldn't see it enough.
Yeah.
I started out as a high school band director out of college, and then wanted to come back home. We're both from the New York metropolitan area, from northern New Jersey,
Mhm.
and I wanted to come back home and start to play in the Big Apple, I guess. And started a little, but wasn't terribly successful. It's a very tough business, and really great players are here. And I needed extra money. And a friend met a young lady at a singles dance of all things, and we were not married. Actually, we hadn't even met yet. And she was doing what back then were called bellygrams and costume deliveries. She was a
Wow.
professional belly dancer, and these costumes, she had a gorilla suit, and there were gorillograms, and she needed people to do them. And this fellow, a very good friend of mine, and me, we were both kind of trying to figure out something to make money, and so we started doing that. She was in New York, and I was living in New Jersey, and every time I have to go, drive to New York, pick the stuff up, go to wherever, go back to Queens, come back to Jersey. I was doing it for a number of months, and I thought this is dumb. I could do this myself. And foolishly, I thought, well, once I get the business running, it'll run itself, and then I can get back to the music business. And
This was 1980.
right, 1980.
Wow.
And so I started this company. I employed the other fellow that met this girl at the single stand. So I was running the company, and both of us were running around, and it kind of just grew over time, and we added more costumes, we added more entertainers, we added balloons. But back then, what I used to do is I found an older gentleman and his wife who had been in the balloon business for many years, which sounds crazy back in 1980, but they were probably doing it 25 years. And they worked out of their house, and I just needed some balloons to go out with these costumes. I would drive to their house, pick them up, go do what I had to do, and go home. And I was like, well, this is crazy. Well, I should just do it in my place, I don't have to keep running back and forth, but I'll buy the balloons from them. And I bought a little regulator, which is actually not a regulator. It's just a pipe, an L-shaped pipe. And you have to turn the tank on and off. There was no regulation of the pressure. And then I finally said, well, this is crazy. Maybe I should buy the balloons where he's buying them from. And the need for more and more and more. And then I bought another small business, a balloon business, and it just kind of folded it into ours, and another one. And then we bought this company that I called it is called Life of the Party. And
Yes.
I started in September of 1980. We met in August of 1980, and
Wow. Okay.
just got more and more involved in stuff, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and we added more things and we added more decor, and we got more involved in the decorating end of it rather than just kind of bouquet deliveries,
Yes.
which back then you couldn't say because there was another company out there that had the trademark on it. And then we bought another business called Balloonacy. This was probably in the mid to late 80s.
Uh-huh.
And we still have Life of the Party and Balloonacy to this day. And they've grown over time. I think Life of the Party has grown more than Balloonacy has. And we now have well over 500 different decorators and entertainers like yourself. We've employed you as well. All around the country that we do with corporate events for companies like Petco and Aldi and 7-Eleven and Bob's Discount Furniture, where we've been very fortunate to employ many different twisters and face painters for different events at all their stores. They're up to 172 stores. We're doing another 12 coming up. And so it's grown over time, and we do a lot of different things and service a pretty wide area, and that's where we're from.
And through the years, we got more involved in conventions.
Yes.
We were asked to decorate at some conventions, and then we were asked to teach at conventions, and then we were asked to buy Balloons and Parties magazine. So we are also the publishers of Balloons and Parties magazine, and we also just evolved into a big decorating company in this area.
Yeah.
And Mark did not get back to his music.
Right.
Very long.
I was so smart; it was going to run itself.
Yeah.
Not
right.
So I took almost 25 years off from the music business, and about 15 years ago now, I got back into it, and so I'm actually playing a lot, but not like I had envisioned when I was 20 something.
Yeah.
And so that's just another whole part of my life, and Andy has allowed me to try and chase that little dream, or what's left of that dream.
Sure.
But with the publication, Balloons and Parties now is kind of on a hiatus. But out of that grew a convention called the All-Star Review, which we've gone with two partners, Jimmy and Diane Hedrick, for 8 years. And then there was another one called the Balloon Institute after that, that we did for a few years. And when you're in things long enough, at least from my perspective, our perspective, you get more involved in the industry. So there was an organization called the International Balloon Association, the IBA, got more involved with that, was on the board as a vice president. I ran their international convention for a couple of years. So things like that just kind of evolve as you get more involved in either your business yourself or the industry kind of as a whole. And I chose to help more with both of that if I could do that. And also as I'm a member of what's now called ILEA, the International Live Events Association. Way back then, it was called ISIS, which I had to change that name. But I was president of the New York Metro chapter, which was the second largest chapter in the world at that point. And it was a great learning experience working with all facets of the event industry. So, the folks coming to your um, convention may be only looking at, well, I want to be a twister, or I want to be a decorator, or I want to be a face painter, or whatever it is they want to be. You can expand your horizons actually easily without uh, so much effort, simply by associating with people within the special event industry, let's say.
Oh,
And
sure.
associations like ILEA or MPI or NACE can afford people that opportunity pretty easily. And I was able to take advantage of it.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. I wanted to circle back to a couple things about the magazine. I know you bought the magazine. Was that the first balloon magazine of its kind in the industry? Is that
To my
correct?
knowledge, it was David and Deborah Polk out of Jacksonville, Florida, had created not just a magazine, they created videotapes, videotape education. Uh, she would publish books on different kinds of designs and basic kind of decor. I have a book also that was many, many years ago, did a whole book on framing all the letters of the alphabet using PVC. And there's a page and instructions for each letter, sizing and stuff. They also, with the convention, I believe there was a convention that was eventually became IBAC, which started either in Canada or was kind of back and forth between
It was in
America and Canada.
Colorado or Chicago or something all the time. I used to see it. I
Well,
forget.
Chicago was IBAC, that was
Okay.
also linked with the National Halloween and Party Show.
No, but she did one of
Yes.
them.
But their show is called Jubilee.
But before that was something.
Uh, Maybe
Yeah.
it's a
It
long
was.
time
It
ago,
was.
and that's where they first got a hold of us in terms of getting more involved in the industry, and I have to give credit to them for really giving us the opportunity to get ourselves out there. And back then, in
Sure.
the early 90s, I mean, there was no internet, there were no digital photos. It was, we took pictures of everything, and I sent them a big thick packet, a big thick envelope of pictures, and they called me and said, wow, we love your stuff, would you like to be in the magazine? Okay, sure. And wow, we love your stuff, we'd like to interview you and put you on the cover of the magazine. Okay. And we love your stuff. We'd
Yeah.
like you to come to our convention and be the guest decorators. Okay. And we did that. And what we hadn't met them until then. It was just on the phone.
Wow.
And when they met us, I remember it was in Washington, D.C. We were going up in an elevator with them.
Right.
And they looked at me and they said, I think we want you to MC our next convention. Would you want to do that? And I'm like, okay. So uh, after that, we would teach for them, and I would MC the event. And
How cool.
eventually, they had us. They had me help out with running the balloon side because they had a gift basket business, gift basket world, and they had the balloon side. So they wanted me to take more control of that, not ownership, but just to manage it.
Of course.
And so they were very, very good to us in helping kind of to promote our own selves within the industry. And eventually, I think Andy had sort of mentioned, they called and said, "Would you want to buy a magazine?" And I
Wow.
was like, "No, I'm not a publisher." And they're like, "We'll show you what to do." And so for, I don't know, maybe 7, 8, 10 years, we did that too. And things changed. And when we
Of
put it
course.
on the internet, and things changed, and advertising changed. Just, I mean, it's not really in some ways that much different than right now with the publishing business. Publishing has always been very tough. It's even tougher now. And with social media and everything, it's just, it's brutal.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're kind of on hiatus with that right now, but who knows? Stay tuned.
Sure. Oh, wow. Amazing. And you do the Thanksgiving, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade as one of your clients.
Yep, we've provided balloons, not the big ones, the little ones, the helium-filled balloons, for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade for the last 20 years in a row. And there's a lot of different facets to it. It's a little different each year,
Oh, I
but
can't
it's
imagine.
yeah, it's like a month-long process. They have different events around different places in New York, and yeah, it's been good. That and the national stuff, and television and movies, and
Oh,
yeah.
tell us about that. The television movies.
Well, the movie stuff, TV stuff, yeah. The movies, we don't do them all the time, but there's a lot of filming in a place like this, and so
Yeah.
over the years we've done balloons. If people remember the movie You've Got Mail, there were a lot of balloons in that. Those were ours. Spider-Man 3, that was ours. And World Trade Center, uh, what's his name? Stone.
Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone's
Right.
World Trade Center, the big, um, the last big scene in a park on the Hudson River. That was us. Um,
Oh,
TV shows.
A lot of
Mm,
HBO stuff.
the HBO stuff, they call it just for like a single thing. Some Woody Allen movies.
What was it?
Deuce, yeah, Deuce was an HBO show. We had it was a big like underground disco scene. We had thousands of balloons in that. Um, just the other day,
Oh,
Only Murders in the Building
Building.
call. And some of the stuff are kind of prominent, and some of the stuff is not, but that's okay. Ed, we would always do. There's the show called Ed years
oh
ago.
yeah.
They were only on for 2 or 3 seasons, but we would start the season and kind of end the season. It's just how it worked out. There was a big wedding scene, I think, in the very last show, where Ed married whoever, and we decorated this church with tons of balloons. So each one of those things are different. Oh, Ransom, the big opening scene.
Okay.
It was in Central Park with these huge arches that we had to make and keep making over and over again because the weather was really bad.
Actually, his first claim to fame was in Fame,
Oh yeah,
in the TV show
Hey,
Fame.
really? Wow.
He was dressed as a chicken.
I was dressed in a chicken
No
act.
way. That is oh, we
I
gotta see a picture of that.
I
That
don't.
is so funny.
I'm sure we have it
My
taped on a
God. A
videotape somewhere.
chicken is the wow.
Yeah.
And I kept getting direction from Debbie Allen about how to turn and go down the steps this way and then this way. Okay, do
Oh,
it.
that is funny.
It was done like in 2 takes.
So we're talking
Wow.
40 years ago.
It was a
Wow.
long time ago.
Did you
And
watch it, Andrea?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
in the remote
Funny.
control, that was a Viacom show. It was a kids show. We
Yeah.
did that a couple times. David Letterman show.
The Food Network.
Oh, the Food TV Network. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we did 2 or 3 of those, the big finale when they picked the next Food TV Network star. So we did the big one we did was what's his name? Guy Fieri, when Emeril Lagasse was naming him the winner.
Yeah.
And we had so many balloons, and it was such a small space. It looked bigger on camera. It was really
Right.
tight, and we just buried them in balloons, just buried them. So that was fun. And it's a little nerve-wracking because it's not live, but it's taped live, and they really only did one take, and so we had to get it right, and we did, and that's why they asked us back. So it was good.
Wow, that's very cool. I love it. Wow. I don't even know what to say after all that, but that's good. That's good.
But we have decorated the White House also, so that's just another
Yeah,
one.
sure. That's awesome. Very cool. Well, we're super excited to hear about your classes. I know you came to Bling Bling Jam. It was 2019. Can you believe it? It was like before COVID. And so you've been there before, and every year is different. And I had always been a fan of yours, as you know, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to have you guys come. And I'm glad you guys are coming back. And of course, big shout out to Ellie Tex for sponsoring you, which is amazing. And this is great. So I know we're doing 4 classes, 2 on marketing and 2 about balloons, about what's kind of going on in the industry, which is interesting. We talked about, but I wanted you to share in your own words why you think, people should come to Blooming Jam and take your classes and check it out, whether it's in person or virtual, but also why you're excited to share. Because one thing about you two is what I've gotten to know you guys in the last few years is I really believe you care about the industry. And that really shows. Not you're not just out for yourself. You really actually want to give back to the industry, and we appreciate that. I roll the same way. So I just I'm more of a twister than a decorator. But with that said, I think that's amazing, and people really want to hear what you have to say, and they feel that that's great knowledge of what's happening. And I think you also have a what's the word I'm looking for? An insight, what I'm saying, as to what's happening as well, a better insight of just looking at things, because you've been around the block a few times, like you shared, so you kind of seen it all, done it all, right? So I guess in your words, share with us what you be talking about teaching and why you think it's gonna be valuable for people to come and that kind of thing. So I'll let you guys take it. Yeah, sure. Andrea first.
Good. No,
No, no, no,
she's on again.
as if you don't know.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
sorry, that was a mouthful too.
we are doing 4 fairly different classes, and in terms of giving back to the industry, at least from my perspective, it is important to be the best that you can be when you're out there. And when you're out there being the best that you can be, you're not really out there just for yourself. You're out there for the industry. You're out there for all of us,
Right.
because people have a very strange idea about what balloons are all about, and not necessarily good ideas. So it's really incumbent upon all of us to really do the really best that we can possibly do in a professional manner. And I will talk about that, not tonight, but certainly
Sure.
in the class. So with that said, um, they're sort of kind of master classes, I guess. You're not calling them that, I know, but
Without the extra charge on those, but we'll have a
oh
special
yeah,
other. Yeah.
no extra charge.
Yeah.
It's all included.
Yes.
The one will be on kind of classic decor, but not just decor, on technique, because technique I feel is sorely lacking. Today is a very interesting time for the balloon industry, because it seems like, even though it was always like that everybody and their brother was getting into it, everybody and their brother and all their cousins and anybody they ever met is now getting into it for a variety of reasons and in a variety of ways. But that, with that said, even though those folks are entering in a way that is maybe different than a regular kind of business, if we can call it that, the
Yeah,
training
way to put that.
the training is lacking as best as we can see, and so a real grounded, basic skills, doing things as quickly, efficiently, and professionally as possible should be the ultimate goal. So that first class is going to teach a lot of techniques. A number of mine are different than maybe what's out there, because I do them in a way that makes things, at least from my perspective, as efficient as possible. That's one class. The other class, with the balloon part, again, sponsored by Elatex, will be us having different thoughts about the organic or garland type of work, whether it's in arches or sculptures or columns or whatever it is. And I think we're going to kind of do a side by side thing on
Oh,
stage
interesting.
about how we'll do that. And the first class will also have some hands-on stuff as well. We're going to have some stations set up and kind of go through how I do, what we do. The other classes, one will be more focused on marketing. Now, marketing is business, and you said they're business classes or marketing classes. Yeah, they both are. But also, marketing is very different these days than when we started teaching marketing classes 25 years ago. It is totally different. I mean, I pull out old notes, and everything is kind of based on the telephone and the yellow pages. And
Sure.
the yellow pages
People don't know
barely
what the yellow
right,
pages are.
it barely
Yeah.
exists anymore. And for many people in the business, the in a way the phone doesn't exist anymore. And it's all kind of what you can do on here. And I think there are ways to kind of balance all of that, and we'll talk about that.
Hmm.
From the business perspective, spending money to make money kind of thing. There's a whole lot of stuff online today, and people talking about basically not being able to um, afford to do anything. And I said this actually in July of 2019 in Las Vegas at the Bling Bling Jam, which was from a business perspective, go into any business, and does anybody say, like, go into an ice cream store? Would you expect them to say, I really don't have much ice cream because I'm saving up for that professional freezer?
Yeah, right.
And the answer is no, you would
Right.
never do that. But speaking to people, learning myself from people in classes, and reading about it more and more and more every day online, people come to this industry with that kind of attitude. And that's going to make it very, very hard to succeed. So wherever you are in the process of this industry, we're here to try and make uh, the transition into a more of a profession for you, which is what we've always talked about doing really from the beginning of our kind of teaching career in this industry, which has now been many, many years.
Right.
And we're sure that that kind of business class will help folks. And there'll be question and answer periods on all of them. And like I said, there'll be some hands-on stuff too. So, Andy,
Excellent.
Think you said a mouthful.
okay. Who, me? Not me.
That's great. I know you did during the lockdown, you did a virtual class on baseboards, right? And when I first heard, I was like, okay. And people said that, but it was so thorough and so much good information that nobody had thought of before. It was like a lot, like, I don't know how to say it, Mark. It's like common sense is not too common anymore, right? And you bring a lot of common sense. I mean, really, it is what it is. And that was really had great reviews. So like would you say that these classes based not to put any other classes down, of course, but there's all different things that people learn. We always learn, it's always good. But what you're offering at Bling Bling Joe in your classes, the kind of knowledge, um, you know, how would you scale the importance of that stuff you're gonna be delivering and or the value, if you will, to what they're gonna be able to do, like you said, kind of like investing in themselves, and building their business to make more money. What's your take on that specifically?
The only thing I would say is that if you have the right tools, you will be able to create you'll be able to build a better business. I do a lot of work with foam board, and I
Oh,
think
nice.
I may have taught that
Yes,
at your last show.
remember. Yeah.
And there's often times when I'm cutting a board or I'm using a cut-all saw, and I'm thinking, if I didn't have these instruments, I would never be able to create what I created. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's just going and buying a certain knife. It could cost $5, but you
Yeah.
have to have that tool in
Right.
order to create something.
Or a cut-all saw that could be $1,000.
Right,
Or
Right.
unfortunately, the cut-alls they don't make anymore.
right.
So
Or a balloon sizer. I do see online there are people who are
Yeah.
using, what we used years ago was a cardboard box or a box with a hole in it.
Yes.
But there's equipment that will
Yeah.
size your balloons for you also.
Yeah.
So that's all part of it.
Yeah. And then there's the educational side, like when Mark did his class with the different tools and it educated us about insurance and stuff. We were like things nobody ever thought about before. And it was a big education on that respect. And also like how to, make a certain way the board to leave it behind. I was remembering that class. So I think the education is like right there with that, for
right.
sure.
And we try and use kind of living examples, if you will. And
Yeah, you
I'll
definitely do.
save them. I'll save them for the class. But if you took my class the last time, I have new stories.
I bet.
unbelievable stories that I'm stunned by
Yeah,
what how some folks think or act or react to a situation, and we
yeah,
want to try and make that better for everybody,
yeah,
and that's why we're there.
But also that the slogan, it's an old slogan, but it's true.
yes,
Education is the key to your success.
yeah,
And
right.
I like to think of what we do with presentations is kind of dollars and cents, and the cents is spelled SENSE.
Yeah,
Dollars and cents has to
yeah,
be common sense, sensible ways to handle things, which in turn will help you save money to make money, but you'll also have to spend some money. And I know, Steve, you put on a very nice show and you make it super reasonable for people to attend, and that was exactly the same thing that we did as well. And people that came and took advantage of our show, that come and take advantage of your show, realize the value when they get to go home and repeat whatever it is that they learned over and over again. The value of the trip to Las Vegas and all that comes with it is invaluable, even if you just find one thing to take home and do.
yes, agreed. And I love your information you guys show. Like I said, it's you really give people that common sense. So thank you for that. But the experiences that you always say, there's always updates. That's what we like.
I have, I have more stories.
That's good. That's what we want to hear. That's awesome. That's awesome. Great, great. Well, any other closing remarks you want to share? Anything I missed by chance of anything you want anybody to know about your classes or you or anything like that?
Be prepared because he talks a lot.
I talk very fast.
Take notes.
Yeah,
And for better or worse, yes, I have a lot to say. And you spend enough time doing anything,
yeah.
uh,
You're passionate about
and
it.
being, somewhat successful, I guess,
Mhm.
you're going to learn things. And if you're willing to part with that information, not just me, anybody, then there's going to be a lot to hear. And
And we're available outside of the classroom. So if there's things that don't get covered, we're there. We're available.
Awesome. Thank you.
and if you allow it, I am going to do
Yeah, a special class.
like
Mhm.
a well, it's really a one-on-one
Oh yeah,
thing.
sorry. Mhm.
It's a social media tune-up, looking at a number of uh, folks online. There are a number of things we can all do to do better at social media, and there are just some simple tune-ups that could be done. So in doing that, it's not something that, hey, come on over, let me see what we can do. It needs some advanced planning on my part. So it is something that folks would have to sign up for, and it is a little extra money, but it will be time one-on-one, me and you, whoever, and there'll be notes and follow up, and I think it'll make your online presence better,
Sure.
and that's today kind of all we really need today is that online presence is the now ever present and all important key to a successful business.
100%. Yeah, I'm excited to hear about that too. But the 4 classes he's doing are all included. This is an extra thing, which
Mhm.
is amazing. So that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
Oh,
Any,
this
oh,
is the
sorry.
fifth thing. Well, this
What-
is the fifth thing. So we got the
That's
four
the fifth.
classes
Yeah,
plus the
exactly.
one-on-one.
Exactly. That's great. Any other comments or anything that we forgot about, or I know people are excited to meet you and see you again, and I know you're excited to meet them, and we can't wait to have you back. It's gonna be really hot, but not just hot weather-wise, but hot with content and information. Having you guys on board, so I'm excited to see both of you, and it's gonna be great. And again, welcome back to the Bling Bling Jam family by popular demand. And let's bling it on, everybody. And we're going to air this most likely on Friday. You'll be watching this live. So thanks so much, Mark and Andrea, for staying up doing this tonight. And we will talk to you guys soon. See you at Bling.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having us
Steve.
back.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We're looking forward to it.
Same here. Over and out.
Thank you.
We'll see.